Hi everyone, hope you're having a nice time at the IT Pound Lounge. Sorry I couldn't make it because of my visa issue, but right here I'm trying to make a recording that I can upload for people to see my presentation. And the topic before me is collaboration made easy using Microsoft Teams as a tool for digital workspace. And before we go further, I'd like to thank our sponsors and those capture around Microsoft and read out global knowledge and also Azure Ape and Dockers. They are the one that make this particular event memorable and to be able to be hosted in Belgium. Who am I? Um, if you can see from my pictures, those are my kids. I have some kids, three kids. I have two girls and a boy. Very, very jovial and lively. And I live in Nigeria, Lagos precise, and that's my city. And that's the way I get to work every day. In the third world country where we have also Lambozo, where you have to go to public transport that is very, very localized, and you can tell what I go through every morning. And this is me. My name is Shiyolua Umiju. I have 17 years experience in terms of technology, infrastructure precisely, and my technology focus are usually Microsoft Server, SharePoint, Office 365 Yammer, Microsoft Team, and of recent Azure and Cloud platform in terms of data and AI. I also do some bits in Sky for Business. I'm a speaker, a public speaker, a writer, and also a trainer. And this year I was awarded MVP and also the regional lead for Nigeria and West Africa. So today we're going to look at this following agenda. We're going to look at digital transformation, why we need collaboration in our digital workspace, and what is Microsoft Team. What's We're going to look at the demo, and because it is not live, any question you need to ask me, my email will be displayed at the end of the presentation. You can actually send me an email, and I will look at those emails and respond ASP. And then we look at the section we end at that point. Digital transformation. A lot of things have been said about digital transformation. What is digital transformation? But the approach I'm going to look at this morning is to be able to look if it. I don't know whether it's morning over there in Belgium, but here in Nigeria it's morning, and I'm going to look at it in looking at history. We're going to go a little bit to the history lane, and I will start from the time in 1780s where we have the steam engine. That was the technology at the time. That was the revolution that brought about changes and was able to capture the art of the industrial revolution, and it changed the space of industry and how we actually made business in those days. In 1870, we had another change that occurred in technology space, and that is electricity that was introduced by Faraday. And Faraday brought about changes of light, bringing about electricity, how we can use electric bulb, and this also brought about great change. And that change extended to 1969, 1970, where we have electronics and IT industry coming up, and we have so many gadgets brought into place, television, satellite TVs, and etc. And in 2015 down to 2018, we're in the age of digital. What is digital? What is what is the call for digitalization? And that is why we are looking at digital revolution. And for us to look at it, I'm going to classify it into four basic space in terms of modern workspace, in terms of the business applications and application and infrastructure, also on data and AI. And for transformation to take place, there are some key parameters we need to put in place. The first thing we are going to look at how to empower our employee. What does it take for them to live the way they are working to a new way they are working, to the new and refined way of working, to live the complex way of using paper to a terms of using a paperless situation. And after the employer is empowered, we need to engage our customer, because digital transformation not only starts from us, it has to originate to all the space of our ecosystem. So all our customers need to be engaged. They need to have a knowledge of what transformation, what the gain they're going to get from transformation, what they need to do about transformation, and then we'll go to optimizing this operation and also transforming our product, our regular way, our core line of business. We need to regulate and we need to transform the way we operate from what we do. But at this point, there is a lot of question that comes in terms of the journey of digital transformation. One, the question most enterprise owner or most establishment look at is because we have so many inflows of data. We have people using multiple devices. We have structured and unstructured information flying around. I'm talking of the social media, where we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, and we have Snapchat. I was listening to the radio yesterday when someone was commenting about what happened to a particular celebrity in the US, and what Snapchat is doing. And it tells us the way we are seeing this unsolicited data flooding into our waves, and this is the call of digital transformation. This is a call of efficiency. This is a call for agility. Now, every business owner asks this question: how much, in terms of marketing, how much can I benchmark to be able to spread, to be able to spend in terms of transforming my ways, the way I work, and to go to the next stage of business? Another question that is typically asked is, are we working with the right platform? Most We have duplicate of platform all around us. We have so many tools around, talking from open source to regulated one, to the OEM like Oracle, like AWS, and also Microsoft, which I represent. And how do I recruit the right talent? And how much do I spend in this call of digitalization? And that's why I asked the question: why digital workspace? Digital workspace, in nutshell, is being able to work from using paper and being able to work using data. And there are issues that has come, that arise in terms of the time before this change has occurred. What are the things in the eyes or the hands or the minds of engineers or technologists? Why do we introduce digital workspace? Why do we need to work more efficiently? Why do we need to use the resources to, instead of using the old way we work? These are questions that is in the mind of so many people, and I key into those questions, and I ask and I streamline those questions. And I'm going to look at it in five, seven, in six different parameter. One, why we need to look into digital workspace: because of document recycling. We notice that our regular platform, I'm talking of our email system, have not been able to achieve that. We have issues of document being recycled. We have issues of, for example, I'm in the office and I need to send a particular document to 10 people, and I attach that document and I send it to 10. That is 10 of a meg in 10 places. And if one of those particular recipient also try to forward that same document to all, I call it a reply syndrome, where we have volume of documents circulating in the same workspace. And another thing we need to look at when we begin to compare and begin to realize why we need digital workspace is the solution, our application, our various, are they on a central hub, or we have people, like I'm working on Office, I need to work on Adobe, I need to change from what I'm doing in the window I am on to another window. How do I space? How do I work? How do I bring agility into my workspace? Another thing we need to look at is the inflow of multiple devices. it is a question. We're going to look at a particular slide where I dive into some research that was carried out by Spark Technology in US, and from the research it was noticed, it was actualized that 3 out of every 5 staff, modern staff, needs to have, or rather, can I put it this way? 3 out of every five staff use multiple devices. I'm talking of people coming in with devices like iPhone, like iPad, and they also have their regular laptops. And we're seeing that someone, just one person, using 3 devices to access the same document, and this is an issue we need to look at. And apart from that, we are in an age where, from the research, it was investigated that most of the people that work needs or agree to work across geographical areas. They don't want to stay in a particular place. They want to work from different parts of the country. Just like in Nigeria, we have about 36 states, and we are talking of our workforce spread across those 36 states. How do they enjoy the agility of what they do? And in the normal space, in the normal era, in the old era rather, we notice that most of us are containerized in a particular place. We need to come in a spot to be able to organize ourselves, to spread our information, and to have result at the end of the day. Now, there's a call for a balance. We have the experience of the people of the modern age, and we have the leveraging of the technology or the tools we have. Now, digital workspace technology is is important for us to focus on leveraging the experience against the tool, because when the tool is there and there's no leverage, there is no consistent um, integration between what we use and how the experience that come, it become an issue. If people are getting bored with the way they work and they don't have a tool to make it work, it become an issue. Now the question is, how do we observe this age? How do we look at the revolution at hand? How do we capture this in our heart? Now, this is a typical picture of two different scenarios. A young guy with his wonderful dog, and the dog was sitting very close to him, and we can notice, if you look at from the other angle, maybe from the axis angle, you notice that the dog, because of the hair, or it looks more like a lady. And for example, if this guy is engaged and the wife comes along, there will be a question, and that question is, are you cheating on me? And if you look it from the other side, the dog is right the dog, and the dog is sitting right close to the guy. Now, we have two perspectives of observation we have seen here, and those observations connote to us that the way you look at things differs. For me, this age, I look at it and I categorize the workspace into two places. The first one is the old workspace, which is usually a containerized office, is localized to a particular place. Decisions are usually very slow. I remember I was one of the office in our government area, and I was trying to, I think I was trying to renew my passport, and it took me 1 week, and I can't tell you the ordeal I went through. Before any decision is being made, a document, I have to move through a messenger or through a dispatch person that goes from one office to another. This slow space, this they tolerate efficiency, and that's what where we are before. But where digitalization is taking us is, which I classify as a modern workspace, where we have collaboration in real time, where we have teamwork effort, where we have innovation at the space of the light, and we have everything we do is powered by the app we use, the application or the solution we have. Just as I said earlier, that there was a research made by Spark Technology, which identify three different things. One, 32% of employees globally rely actually on more than one devices to work a day, and that is the call of digitalization. And this has also saved travel costs. It has also saved being able to, before you can work in the old workspace, you have to get a location, you have to own an office, you have to pay for the space, and 30% of that was saved. And 25% return over investment has been able to accumulate over the time, space of time. And 3 out of every 5 workers have said they don't need to physically be in the office. Modern workplace is flexible, it's holistic, and also it allows sharing and collaboration and improve productivity. let's quickly take let's just look at the benefit we can get from modern workspace. First of all, the main thing, and that is the subject of our talk today, is collaboration. What is collaboration? Collaboration, being able to connect not only your internal colleagues, your partners, your customer, and it is not localized, it can be from anywhere. It is a booster. Modern workspace is a booster to performance in terms of knowledge sharing, collaborating, co-occurring, and also being able to share information and make decisions at spot. Flexibility is there, which call for agility of the service you use, and also the efficiency that you get from this. Efficiency in terms of reduced cost, return over investment is readily shown. There's flexibility, and there's health in terms of the health of the workspace, and life balance is there. What do I mean by that? I can have time. In those days, most time when we started, um, I know I started way back in times when we started using Windows NT and Windows 98, Windows 95, and in those days, as an IT professional, what we do most time we stay. I know those days there was a day I need to launch, but I think it was server 2013 for a bank, and it was going to go live 3 days, and there was pressure. I have to stay over, and the life balance at that time is very crucial. Most time we don't see our family for days, for weeks. They see us once in a time, and this can actually be solved. We can bridge the family life with our office life by having a flexible and agile workspace, a place where we can have our tools readily available, and in any place, any point we get, we can have access to our information. And this brings me to the topic of today, and that is Microsoft Team. What is Microsoft Team? Why did Microsoft at this time bring in Microsoft Team? We have so many solutions there. We have Slack, which is the major competition for Microsoft Team. Is it because of competition Microsoft brought in Team? I said no. The truth is that we have Microsoft Office 365 that came in, and the adoption has been rapid in terms of millions of people across the world, even in Africa and Asia, in Europe. We have seen people that have adopted using my Office 365. And Office 365 is just not just a platform, it is a place where we have various productive tools that are embedded in the solution. And if we have all those tools, how do we use it? How do we work with it? How do we make it to our ultimate advantage? And from my own perception, Microsoft bringing tool is to bring about a collaborative, a connection, a connectivity of bringing all those solutions together, having a central hub where those solutions will be able to be used. And before we go further, I want us to look at what will I call the arts and the rhythm of a team. What is teamwork? How do we see team? And the first place, I am a church person. I go to church, and I was able to capture from my choir how do they make their music, and it's so exciting and so intriguing when you see the way they make music. Now, this is a typical Christmas choir from one of the local churches. Now, if you follow the theme of the music, we have collaboration of different kind of voices. The tenor, the soprano, all of them coming together to make a music called Christmas. It's called it Keresimesi in African dialect, in the Yoruba and the western part of Africa, in Nigeria. They call it Keresimesi. Now, there is a conductor. The conductor can be the Microsoft team. It's bringing about the various voices, connecting it with the instrument being used, connecting it with the standard. Now, let's just follow the rhythm of this choir. It just now you can see the various violin coming in, the voice integrating into it, the pitches that is coming from this music. Now, the exciting things, you can even bring in a standard chorister there. This is another choir. This is a lead vocally, and it's vocalist that is singing from the outside the choir frame, and they are integrating it into the same platform. Let me just give you time to listen to this. Now, just watch the melody that comes after this. Now, the keyboard is coming in. The other instruments are playing in. The voice will be integrated now. This is a typical rhythm of a teamwork. And not just about the people, which is the central focus, leveraging it on the tools they have, the instrument they are using, integrating it into one platform, conducted by a conductor, which is a choir. Now we're going to look at another one. Another rhythm I want us to look at is football. I know in this part, I know in Europe we like football. Also in Nigeria, football is one of our sports that we use. And I want us to look at the rhythm of a typical team, football team. Sorry. Okay. Now, this Barca, this Arsenal, I'm going to show Chelsea, and that is the coach, which is the binding force here now. Now, let's follow it. Now, that is the striker. He's passing the ball. There's a connectivity. There is an arrangement between all the teams. And the coach is at the side, trying to drive the team. The rhythm here is the goalpost. Let the go. Standalone Microsoft team. So enough of this. Let's quickly go back to the slide. Now, these are all the apps, tools that are embedded in Office 365. We have SharePoint, we have Outlook, we have Skype, we have Yammer, and other things like Flow, like so many other tools that are brought in. Now, the connection of all this embedded into Office 365 is where Microsoft Team stands to. Microsoft Team now help you to build the teamwork, also help you to have what we call an hub where all the content, the people, and the app can work together. There's so many confusion around Microsoft Team and Yammer. Are they all together? Are they working as competition, as a competitive tool, or are they working together to bring about? Now, in recent time, a new thing have been made, and that's help us to look at the confusion along what Microsoft Team is and what Yammer is. Now, it has been divided into two. We have the inner loop and we have the outer loop. And we have the email platform and SharePoint and OneDrive, which is for the content and for the files for the storage. So the inner loop is what Microsoft Teams makes. Now, what Teams does is when I have a smaller group and I need to have information across the smaller group, I need to get this team to come together. I need to actualize a practice. I need to take them to the terms of making decision, bringing about a project from start to completion. This is what the inner loop would do. Then the outer loop is when you go further into the enterprise space. We have larger number of people. We have people that need to connect together. You have people that you need to socialize with. Yes, team has some social attributes within the team, and it brings about the real people in terms of trying to bring the people against what we do socially. So Yammer take care of the outer loop, the email take care of the information gathering, and SharePoint help in storage. All these are enclosed in what we talk about Office 365 teamwork. Now let's go to a demo.
In this clip, you'll learn how to navigate the Microsoft Teams application. We'll be taking a tour of the online version of this application, but no worries if you're wondering if the desktop version is any different. They look very similar, and we're going to cover everything that you need to know to get started in this series. First thing that we're going to take a look at is there's 3 areas that we're going to be working within. All the way to the left, that dark background navigation pane that starts with the activities bell at the top and ends with a picture at the bottom. We're going to go through this and learn the different areas that you have access to, and even some things that might be external to Teams, but a great way to bring it in so that this is the one place that you can work from with everyone else in your teams. The next area we're going to be covering is that wider navigation pane that has the white background. This is where all of your teams and the channels within those teams reside for you to be able to easily navigate your way around those teams. And then over to the right is actually what are you working in within that team. So now that we have that, let's break it down a bit more and take a close look. You can see over on the left that the Teams area is highlighted on that navigation pane. That is the default landing page that you will end up on when you log in to Microsoft Teams. Now, of course, your view might look different than mine if this is the first time you're accessing it, there haven't been any teams that have been set up yet, or you haven't been added to a team that someone else has created. But let's take a close look. So right now, we are actually looking at the project management team, and we are viewing the planning channel. So in that middle pane, if we look for project management, here you can see project management. And project management has already been expanded, and we're able to see indented underneath are the 2 channels that have been created within this team, general and planning. Now since we're in this, over here to the right, you can see at the top, we are in the project management team, and we are working in the planning channel. So think of channels that are part of a team as really a way to kind of categorize or break down different areas, phases, parts of a project, parts of whatever it is that you and your team are working on. Within that channel, you get some content that comes with it or some tabbed areas to kind of get you started. Things that might be more popular amongst a team, like the conversation that you see happening here. And at the top of that, we have some tabs that will help with navigating around those 3 areas that come with a channel. Conversation, files, which are all the files that everyone in your team has access to, and a wiki for maybe those frequently asked questions that you have. And then the plus sign is a great place for you to go to add additional content, files, or applications. Okay, let's close out of this Add a tab. Now, if we go back over and we collapse down some of these, you'll see that we can kind of tidy up the teams and the channels that we have here also. Now let's move back over one more pane to the left. So we started with the default area teams that we're viewing. Activity at the top is a great place for you to see any notifications. Maybe you have been mentioned in a conversation, and it's going to acknowledge that and kind of point that out to you in this activity area so you don't miss out on anything that's being said or some information that a colleague is looking for. The chat area is a great place for you to have private conversations. Maybe this isn't something that you need to bother the entire team with in the conversation area of a channel, but maybe you just need to direct a question to one or two people. This would be the great place for you to do that. It's also where you might find some of those bots that you're using within your teams. And if you're not familiar with bots, there are a couple of clips within this series that can help you out with that, like T-Bot. He can help you with learning whatever it is you need to know about teams. And Polly, she can help you with creating polls within your conversations. So if we move along down to meetings, meetings is a great place to see what's going on within your team calendar, but it's also a place that you're going to be able to see what's coming up on your individual calendar. Since Teams is part of the Microsoft Office 365 application suite, it ties right into your Outlook calendar and it surfaces those upcoming meetings in this view without you having to switch to another application. Files kind of does the same thing. So here we can see recent files that you have been working on. We can also go directly to the Microsoft Team files that you have access to. And anything that you have saved in your individual OneDrive for Business library, you can get to those right here as well. Let's move on down to the light bulb icon here that says Feedback. As you start to discover and explore the Microsoft Teams application, you might find that there are certain things that you want to be able to do that just aren't quite there yet. Or maybe there's something that you think should work a little differently than it does. User voice is where feedback will take you, and this is a great place for you to look and see if someone else has suggested that item and vote on it if they have, and if not, why not suggest it and let others vote for it? If it gets at least about 100 votes, that's usually when the development teams take a look at that, the product development teams take a look at that, and they're going to see if that's something that they can design and put into action. All right, great. Let's go ahead and close out of that and get back to the Microsoft Teams application. The last thing that we're going to discuss is the settings in the lower left corner. So the icon that you see at the bottom here may have your picture. If not, it might have your initials. And by going into the settings, there's many things that you can do to customize this environment to the way that you like to work. One of those is to change that picture. You'll see that at the top of this menu. Another one at the top of this menu is your availability. Very similar to your Skype availability, right? Are you available? Are you busy? Do not disturb or away. Any items that you have saved in a conversation of a team channel, you're going to find those in the saved area. So that's what the saved items will look like, and this is the way that you can actually bookmark it. Notice how it is pink. So in the upper right corner of any conversation, you can actually save a conversation. Let's go back to settings one more time, and we're going to close this out by talking about the themes that you can change and some shortcuts you'll find here as well. The default theme is a mostly white background type of a theme, but we changed that to dark. Notice what that does. And that might be easier for the eyes, right? If you're working in a darker environment, maybe you're on the plane, in your hotel room, somewhere on the road. Let's go back to settings one more time. I mentioned some shortcuts. There is a great place for you to get keyboard shortcuts for this application. This application is brand new, and with that, you might find that some of these shortcuts are familiar shortcuts, and some of these are also brand new to go along with this application. But very helpful if you need to start a new chat, just use Alt+N. All right, let's go ahead and close out the keyboard shortcuts. Now you've learned your way around Teams, hopefully you're ready to explore. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next clip.